You know, guys, one extremely important, valuable lesson to learn in life. If you have a voice, if you have an opinion, if you have a stance, there is no way to please everybody. And you want to know an even more important lesson in life? It's that you should not care about who is displeased versus who is pleased. The reason I'm bringing this up, guys, is because I know every single time I talk about XDefiant, all of these Call of Duty gooch slickers start crying because they think I'm on XDefiant's side. When I post a Call of Duty video, even if I'm smoking Call of Duty, there are XDefiant fans telling me that this is boring and they'd rather hear about XDefiant. And if I go back to XDefiant and I have something critical to talk about, as we've seen in previous videos, those XDefiant fans become gooch lickers themselves, and they get upset with the Scatmaster. Now here's the thing. I don't really care, alright? The Scatmaster really does not care. The only difference about these two games is that if I have something to say about XDefiant, the developers over here are much more likely to actually make a difference.
Now listen!
In Call of Duty, it kind of just goes into nowhere, and eventually it becomes me making fun of the developers, and I think that's extremely entertaining for myself. And unfortunately for a lot of people, I have to make a critical video about XDefiant, and it's not because I think Season 1 is complete and utter garbage, although that probably will be the actual title of the video. You know how it goes out here, guys. The Call of Duty drought had me dried out for like 6 months, alright? So if you guys get upset with the Call of Duty devs. It's their fault, I gotta play catch up, you know what I'm saying? And as a matter of fact, I still think XDefiant is far and above the better game between this and any of the recent Call of Duty games, so it's not like I'm hating on XDefiant. I just think Season 1 could be so much better than what it currently is. And I don't even mean this from the content perspective, because if we're gonna be honest, Season 1 of XDefiant, content-wise, it's great. I actually think it's good. One of the things that I talked about in my previous XDefiant video was that I want Mastery Camos to progress even further past Gold. And that is exactly what we're getting, guys. I mean, this is just stuff that you love to see, alright? I think some information on prestiging is gonna come in the future as well, and this is great. The new map, I haven't played it yet, but it looks fantastic. Great addition. We got new weapons on board. On the content aspect of this, for a free-to-play game, I think we are being very well fed. However, guys, the one critique that a lot of people have had with XDefiant is no matter how great this content is, it's still a little rough around the edges, and that is something that desperately needs polishing sometimes, and especially if you want to be an active competitor in the FPS genre, especially going against a titan like Call of Duty. It's like some of these issues kind of go towards the lane of like amateur hour type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And if you really want to be a true competitor and actually push the genre forward, some of these issues need to be polished ASAP. So I'm not here to say that Season 1 is complete garbage because the content sucks. I am saying it because it's still rough around the edges, and I think some of this stuff needs to be addressed immediately. So to the XDefiant gooch slickers, please put the torches down. These things that I'm about to comment on are for your own good, honestly. I mean, this benefits nobody but the community. And to the Call of Duty gooch slickers out there that are going to discredit XDefiant and call it a garbage game, no. Alright, no. XDefiant is far and above, so much better and far superior to MW 2019 through the present Call of Duty. And if that's a tough pill to swallow, then, I mean, you're the one gooch licking. I think you would know a lot more about swallowing, so anyways. The first thing that I need to talk about, guys, is this whole thing with the spider bot. Now, I could have sworn they talked about reverting this change. I don't know if it's already been reverted, but pretty much the thing that crawls up on your face like a Call of Duty gooch licker and is just in your face and it's just annoying and you just want to shoot it off and get rid of it completely and entirely. Yeah, that annoying thing, yeah, it crawls up to you, it latches onto your face, it takes you out of the game, and honestly, guys, I don't know if I sound stupid saying this, but I don't know if I'm supposed to shoot at it, I don't know if I'm trying to melee it, I don't know if I should wait it out, spin around, look up, look down. I don't know what to do, alright? I'm not gonna lie to you guys, that might be the most noob thing you ever hear come out of my mouth, but I don't know what to do, alright? So I guess what people started doing was looking down and shooting, and that would get rid of the spider. I guess that was not by design, that itself was a bug, and that is an issue. You're telling me one of the only effective ways of getting rid of this thing was not intentional by design. So initially you had it so there was nearly no way effectively to get rid of this thing and just annoy your player base. I just don't understand from a logistical perspective how this is reasonable at all. And I guess they actually eliminated this bug so you can no longer look down and shoot at it to get rid of it, but now they're reverting it. So that's in a sense kind of good, but it still just leaves me scratching my head like, why would you even do this in the first place? Very odd developer decision. But on the topic of more weird development decisions, there is a new flash effect. Alright guys, in today's XDefiant update, a new and improved visual effect for when you're hit with flash grenade was added. Now, I've been flashed before in this game, and let me tell you something guys. You ever seen a fat BBW beluga whale chick? Yeah, that's kind of what happens when you get flashed in XDefiant. It's in your way. It covers the entire map. You can't look anywhere else because it's just always there. And it does nothing but slow you down because it's in the way. Guys, what they ended up doing instead, and I don't know if I could put a clip up of this, but they made it so the flash effect maybe isn't as strong or as lengthy, but instead what it kind of does is add a freeze frame effect to you where it's like a distorted image of your last movement, and then it snaps you out of it and you're back into the game. And I just think this looks god awful. I can't lie to you guys. I don't know if any developer is watching this video, and if you are, I don't even know if you made it this far just the way that I'm talking, but this is not the best change. And I appreciate that they're trying to do something different with the effect, but it's just not clean at all, and it looks god awful. I'm sorry. Now, I don't know if this next one is specific to ranked play, but even if it is, even if it's not, this is simply one of those unacceptable kind of bugs where XDefiant's official Twitter account tweets out, "We are aware of a bug that if you are on the winning team and dead at the end of the match, you will get 0 RP. We are working on a fix, but until then, stay alive." And you know what? At least the comedic effect and then the humor at the end, at least it's okay because it ends off on a light note. But yeah, if you happen to be dead at the end of a match, you don't get any of these points. Are you kidding me? That's one of those unacceptable ones. And look, I'm not trying to bag on the developers or on the game itself, but this is just my main theme of the video, that if you were going to compete with a titan like Call of Duty, a game that is known for having, I mean, at this point, like an unlimited amount of bugs and horrible gameplay, horrible decision making out of the developers and the publishers, then you should really be separating yourself from the rest of the pack. Alright, so trying to play equal to Call of Duty and the amount of nonsensical bugs in your game, it's not really the best move, especially not for Season 1, and we'll talk about what I mean by that in just a moment. This next issue, I actually think might actually be one of the worst issues that I can think of. Also coming out of XDefiant's official Twitter, "We are aware of frame rate issues if you are playing PS5 on 60 Hz mode and are investigating an emergency fix." Now this, guys, this is really where I'm gonna try to tame the whole Scatmaster thing because I still want to be constructive, but deep inside, I just want to destroy whatever is causing this issue, whether it's a result of incompetence or just not being careful enough, or if it's just a bug by chance. I don't know how to code, I don't know how to develop a game, so I have no idea what goes into this sort of stuff, so I'm hoping that this is just an issue that just so happened to be a product of releasing an update and changing some things around. But if your game is not going to be available on previous generation consoles like a PS4, I completely and utterly understand and I agree with it being that way. Honestly, truthfully, I do. But for people that are playing on monitors or TVs that only go up to 60 frames per second, this is one of those issues that kind of creates a divide between people who can afford an actual monitor of quality and people who cannot. And honestly, as somebody who is on the 120 Hz side, okay, I play on 120 Hz on my PS5, not 60 Hz. If I'm in the shoes of somebody who plays on 60 Hz monitors, this one kind of stings because it almost feels like it's one of those issues where, haha, you're kind of broke, so you're gonna deal with this disadvantage even harder than anybody else who could afford it would ever feel. And you know, guys, as somebody who used to come from the whole, you know, poor end of things, it's really not a good feeling. And I would really appreciate, on the behalf of people who play on 60 Hz monitors or on lesser setups, I would hope that these developers really solely focus on this first, as opposed to all the other design issues and, you know, missteps. This is one of those that's really gonna piss people off, especially if you're not on the most optimized setup, which I don't think needs to be a bare minimum requirement to enjoy a video game. And maybe that's a topic for a different video, but I would really hope the XDefiant developers can listen to this part specifically and really get on this, because if you're experiencing frame rate issues on a game that's already clunky, that already has poor netcode, I can't even imagine what type of frustrations you would run into. So on behalf of these people, please, XDefiant developers, Mark Rubin, Aches, anybody else that comes across this video, possibly perchance, this is one of those that I think urgently needs a fix. Now guys, why am I harping on some of these issues? And I know some people might not think that these are the biggest deals, but you really need to understand, XDefiant is in a position of power where they could make some drastic moves that drastically improve the quality of their game, and as a result, push the FPS genre forward and against Call of Duty, where Call of Duty sometimes needs to be humbled because, let's be honest, those games, frankly, they suck. So you need a viable competitor that's going to do Call of Duty better than Call of Duty. If we're playing copy the bugs and have the exact same amount of bugs as Call of Duty in your game that already has a lesser netcode, let's just be honest, it is what it is. The hit detection, the hit registration, some of these things drastically and desperately need to be improved, then these sort of issues sort of become amplified and they become unacceptable after a certain point. Now, for this to be at Season 1, that's really where this is like a missed opportunity. Because if you saw my last video, then you would know that the amount of unique players playing XDefiant, or who have played XDefiant at least, that number is significantly higher than what the developers expected, it's higher than what Ubisoft expected, it's higher than what the community expected. So for you to be in this position where you can really skyrocket and you're kind of misstepping a little bit, despite your content being incredible in my opinion, like I said in the beginning of the video, the content that we received for Season 1 is actually great. But these little missteps on the side where I'm saying it's rough around the edges, these sort of things deter from the experience that you could otherwise be having. And for Season 1 to be that moment where so many more people are going to be logging on and trying it out, or some people are finally going to bite the bullet and just download this thing for free because you can. If you're somebody who has a 60Hz monitor and you just heard about this issue in XDefiant, you haven't played it before, what are the chances that you're like, oh yeah, let me try this out? You know, so it becomes a missed opportunity where you could have really skyrocketed and propelled the player count and the amount of unique players that are logging on. And despite how good the content looks, you sort of fall into this whole Call of Duty theme where, yeah, on surface level, this looks great, but what's actually going on at its core? Can I move properly? Can I actually visualize what's happening in the game without my frame rate dropping? Are the servers okay? Can I even log on? Am I gonna freeze? Am I gonna get shot around corners? Like, these sort of things sometimes goes through people's minds who haven't even played the game yet that are trying to consider playing it, and you end up losing these people as a result of not being well polished enough. And I'm not trying to place blame on Mark Rubin or Aches or any of these XDefiant developers. I understand that when it comes to actual resources, you might not be as optimized and advanced as the people working on Call of Duty, but you don't necessarily need to be like that for your game to succeed. But at the bare minimum, some of these issues, especially like the frame rate issue on a PS5, or even not gaining your XP or RP or whatever it is, some of these things just cannot happen. And it's one of those things, guys, where I'm not trying to hate on the game. All I'm saying is it's a missed opportunity on the possible potential that XDefiant has, that I know it has and is capable of having, and we're simply not on track for it. And I don't think this game is bad in the slightest, guys. I'm trying to tell you right now, I think XDefiant is actually an incredibly fun game. I've been having a lot longer play sessions on this than I have in the last like 5 years of COD. But if you want this game to be pushed into the next level, some of these back-end issues, we just need to be on top of them a little bit faster. We need to be more efficient with it. You have it all. You have exactly what it takes to be great, but you gotta stop messing up. But that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I'm curious to know what you guys think about all this. What are your thoughts on XDefiant Season 1? On the content side and on the back end side? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with my newest videos. And yeah guys, it's been the boy Fooly. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out of here. Toodles.
This ain't in my body.